Everyone laughed when Ryan pulled up in that rusty old car. Everyone except him. He just smiled, even when Mia, the most popular girl in college, looked at his car and laughed out loud. To her, it was just a joke, but to him it was all he had left of his father. That day, Ryan said nothing but what happened months later when Mia saw that same car again. She didn't laugh. She cried. Ryan was quiet, humble, and different from most students at Crestwood University. While others arrived in shiny sedans, luxury bikes, and brand new sneakers, Ryan came in an old, dented 1987 hatchback that coughed smoke every morning like an old man with a cold. It wasn't just a car. It was a memory. His father had bought it second-hand years ago and used to drive Ryan to school every day, humming old songs through the broken stereo. After his father passed away in a construction accident, that car became the only thing Ryan refused to sell, even when money was tight. But college wasn't kind to people who didn't fit the mold. The first day of class, Ryan parked his old car beside a line of shiny BMWs. And that's when he heard it. Laughter. A group of students was standing nearby, led by Mia Collins, rich, beautiful, and the kind of girl who never had to worry about anything. She pointed at his car and giggled, "Oh my God, does that thing even move? Looks like it belongs in a museum." Her friends burst into laughter. Ryan looked at them, smiled softly, and said, "Yeah, it moves, just not as fast as your opinions." They went silent for a moment, but Mia rolled her eyes and walked away. That moment stayed with Ryan, not because it hurt, but because it reminded him that people only see what's on the surface. They never see why something matters. Ryan worked evenings at a local diner and nights as a delivery driver. Every spare dollar went to books and food, not appearances. And even though life was heavy, he never stopped smiling. Meanwhile, Mia's world was picture perfect on the outside. Perfect selfies, perfect parties, perfect friends. But what no one knew was that her parents were divorcing, her father was never home, and the pressure to be perfect was eating her alive. But she hid that behind laughter, even when it was at someone else's expense. One rainy evening, Ryan was doing deliveries when his old car broke down right outside the campus gate. As he tried to push it, a familiar voice called out, "Need help, vintage man?" It was Mia, standing there with an umbrella, smirking. Ryan looked up and chuckled, "Only if you promise not to post it." For the first time, Mia smiled genuinely. "I'm not that bad," she said. He grinned. Yet, that tiny moment, under the rain beside that broken car, was the first time she saw him, not just the boy with the rusty car. But the universe had more to teach them, and not all lessons come softly. A few weeks later, the college was holding its annual charity event, a big car rally to raise funds for a children's hospital. Every rich student registered their flashy cars. Ryan didn't. He didn't have the money for entry or the confidence to stand beside those cars again. But fate had its way. The night before the rally, one of the sponsors canceled. The event risked being postponed until Ryan offered to help. He worked overnight using his delivery contacts to gather donations, organizing volunteers, even repairing broken props himself. When morning came, everyone was shocked. The rally was back on thanks to Ryan. Even Mia heard about it. She went to thank him, and that's when she saw him. Tired, sweaty, hands covered in grease, but smiling. She said quietly, "You did all this?" He nodded. "Someone had to. It's for the kids." For the first time, Mia didn't see the old car or the shabby clothes. She saw the heart behind them. During the rally, something unexpected happened. One of the luxury cars, Mia's in fact, broke down midway. The engine failed and the road was deserted. Her phone had no signal. And just when panic hit, she heard a familiar sound, the rumble of Ryan's old car. He pulled over beside her, smiling. "Need a lift?" She laughed softly. "In that thing?" He replied, "Hey, this thing never gives up." She hesitated but finally got in. Inside, the car smelled like old leather and nostalgia. A faded photo of a man, Ryan's father, hung from the rearview mirror. Curious, she asked, "Is that your dad?" Ryan nodded. "Yeah, he used to tell me, never be ashamed of what you have. Be proud of how far it's taken you." Mia looked out the window, quietly. For once, she didn't have a comeback. That old car carried them all the way back to campus, slowly but surely. When they arrived, people stared. Ryan didn't care. But Mia, she stepped out, turned to everyone, and said loudly, "This car may be old, but it's more reliable than most people I know." The crowd fell silent. From that day, Mia stopped laughing at people. She started helping Ryan with his volunteer work, organizing drives and raising funds for students who couldn't afford tuition. They became friends. Then something more. Years later, when Ryan opened his own nonprofit to support underprivileged students, guess who stood beside him at the inauguration? Mia, proud and teary-eyed. And outside that hall, parked in the corner, was the same old car. Polished, shining, no longer rusty. Ryan had restored it, not because he needed it, but because it reminded him of where he came from and who he became. Mia touched the car and smiled. "I used to laugh at this." Ryan smiled back, and now it drives our story. Sometimes, what you laugh at today might be the very thing that teaches you humility tomorrow. Don't judge people by what they have. Judge them by what they've overcome, because real worth isn't parked in the driveway. It's parked inside the heart.